How do you make effective decisions? The thing is, human beings make 40,000 decisions per day. That is huge. Most decisions are being made by something called as IES. I call it as an IES, immediate emotional satisfaction or need. Okay. If you want to choose a job, like you've got two jobs, and now we'll obviously, most people would obviously see is like, which has more money? Sure. But when you get to the other job, which has less money or no money, but your learning experience are going to be so much, and in the long term, it's going to help you, but not many people choose this. When it comes to women, when it comes to buying a house, I don't know, like just so many things, right? I mean, so many decisions that we make, and everything will be inclined towards that immediate emotional needs. Okay. So when you make this decision, right, first of all, your emotion is actually clouding your judgment, which is not letting you see through the things that you're supposed to see, right? That means your hormones are dancing in your mind, saying that, you know what, go for it or don't go for it, whichever has a maximum emotional benefit to your mind and to your body. In that 40,000 decisions, there are few decisions which is called as a critical decisions. And those decisions will change the course of your life. Okay. We have a course of a life. Everybody has a life of, I don't know, 50 years, 40 years, 100 years, 120 years, whatever it is. And there are few decisions, very, very critical decisions, which is literally changing the direction of people's lives. And all those directions are taken place with one decision, just one decision, the words that is going on in your mind. So at that particular point, when you have to make the decision, if you're too happy, if you're too angry, if you're too mad at somebody, if you are any of these emotions that you're having, good emotion, bad emotion, doesn't really matter. But if you're having completely on an emotional wave, that decision is going to be heavily influenced by this. And you don't want that. And you don't want that. You get stuck. Do I have to quit my job? Do I have to start my business? Do I have to get married? Can I get married? You know, all of these things which are really crucial for you to really think through this, because it's not just about the decision, but the things happens after the decision, actions, the consequences, the failures, the success, everything that happens after the decision is going to be huge, and that's literally going to have a heavy impact on your life. So how do you make every decision that you make is effective? And the one thing that fascinates me is people just don't, make decisions based on their immediate emotional needs, but also they make based on the religious beliefs, right? To the superstitious beliefs. We humans are insanely capable of making that pattern recognition. Okay. So majority of the superstitious beliefs are caused by this pattern recognition. Like you should not cut your nails in the evening, or you should wake up to, I don't know, like there are plenty of things out there. So the thing is, those are superstitious beliefs, and most of it is not really backed by science. So if you ask whoever taught you the superstitious beliefs, right, you should not do this, you should do this, if you just ask why, there is no answer to that. Okay. So the thing is, when you make decisions based on the religious beliefs or the superstitious beliefs or any other belief system, what happens is, I'll give you an example, right? The data is reliable to a certain extent because humans are always unpredictable. Now, even the data is only 90% predictable because humans can change. Okay, I'll be generous. 95% predictable. The data, previous data, is 95% predictable, and still that 5% is always a buffer. When the data itself is 95% predictable, is only 90% predictable and not 100%, how can you possibly make a decision based on the religious beliefs or the superstitious beliefs? Are you getting my point? Now, the fuck up is that when you make the decision, and then when you spend through that time, that energy, that money, whatever you have to do based on these decisions, and after that, if the whole thing gets fucked up, and I'll tell you what happens, our brain plays this voice. Everything happens for a reason. Like, really, everything happens for a reason. Really, you fucked up that decision, and now your brain is trying to rationalize this whole thing, saying that, you know what, it's it's all for a reason. You have lost your time, my friend. You have lost your resource. And if you have lost your money, yes, you have lost your money. If it is a failure I'm talking about, right? So this is something that you should never, ever do it. And I have made like tons of bad decisions. I've learned these things through the hard way. So you have to have a heuristics, that is nothing but the process of making decisions when it comes to the critical ones. And how do you do that? So the first one is analyze the downside. It is also called as a calculated risk, but analyze the downside. Okay, so when you take a decision, if the downside, meaning after the decision, the consequence of the decision, if the decision is the cause, then there is an effect. So analyze the effect. What happens after the decision? If things goes for failure after the decision, if things are going for failure, what will that potential failure be? What is the impact that failure can cause to me? You need to at least, you cannot have a clear understanding on that one, but at least you can, to a certain extent, you can predict. Okay, now I'm going to start this and I'm going to do this. In case if things go wrong, what is the downside of it, right? If you're going to die, you should not decide. If you're going to, enjoy yourself, that's a risk. You should not do that. You should not decide for that. The answer is obviously no. If this is going to put you or anybody behind the bars, then obviously you should not do that. Okay? Now comes analyze the emotions. So when you're deciding on something, right, what is the level of influence that your emotion is having on that particular decision, right? If you're too happy, have you heard about the saying, never make promises when you're too happy, and never decide when you're, never react when you're mad, when you're frustrated, when you're angry, right? What are they? Happiness, anger, frustration, sadness, all of these are emotions, right? So never make any decision when you're angry. So what is the level of emotion when you're making that particular decision? Think about that. For me to quit my job, it was a very hard decision, but did I take it? Yes. So I'll tell you what exactly happened on a particular day. Okay, it was 4th of February 2019, around 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean 5 to 6, somewhere in that time. Okay, so I have this mail. I tender my resignation with immediate effect. And I had this right in front of me, and I have people on the, my boss and everybody else on that. Now I'm just thinking, like, should I do this? My heart was pounding. It was pounding. The easier thing for me to do is just, close that and then get back to work, whatever I was doing. Nobody will know anything that happens. But the thing is, if I send this mail, if I just hit Alt S, everything changes. Everything changes from that moment on. In my life, everything will change, right? So should I do this? Just one small action of sending that Alt S will change, will change my life to a 360 degree. And if I don't send, that means I don't decide. If I don't decide, that is also a decision. If you don't decide, it's also a decision. So should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? Approximately for 15-20 minutes, I was battling this shit because my mind and my heart was like fighting and that thing. But I've been thinking about this for quite some time, but this particular day. Now, I can do two things. Send it and do what it takes, or don't send it and get back. What is a hard decision? Send it. So I took the hard decision. What I'm really trying to say is, you need to think of this as a muscle in your mind. Hard decision. Taking decision itself is like it's a muscle. The more easier decisions that you take on a constant basis, then you will not be capacitated to take the hard decision. And you, at some point, you will be obligated to take the hard choices. If you don't make choices, the life will make choices for you. And you don't want that kind of shit because it's full of shit. Okay? So when you keep constantly taking the easy decision, you are inclined towards that, and one day there's something that's giant. Procrastination is a decision, right? I'll do it tomorrow. It's a decision. I'll not do it. That's a decision. So the more easier decision that you keep taking, you become weaker and weaker and weaker. And one day, when the real adversity kicks in, and you'll be like, holy shit, how am I going to take this? How am I going to solve this? Instead, every damn day, take the critical decision and make sure that's a hard one. If you take a hard decision, then you are not really giving into your emotion. That means you're not really giving into your weakness or the happiness or whatever, but instead you're thinking more logically. This is called as a rational decision making, and you're going for that. And that is something that you should inculcate in your everyday behavior, and then it's going to be innate in you. You should make You should be in a position to make hard decision every damn day, and this should be your instinctive character. When you are getting into that position, trust me on that, my friend, you are going to be unstoppable in your life. Okay, so what the bottom line of this whole thing is: easy decision, hard life; hard decision, easy life. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take the hard decision of give me a subscribe and give me a like and take the decision. Stay hard and kill it. Peace.